Oh yeah, it's me, Waifu Belector, the only fair human on Earth, here today to talk about the game that never stood a chance. Well, it's not out yet, so I guess I should say the game that still doesn't stand a chance. I'm, of course, talking about the upcoming Sony first-party first-person shooter, Concord. From the moment we saw Concord, everyone hated it because internet reasons, I guess. I don't know, the reason is not clear, but it's not important for this video. What's important to know is that this game was loathed and deemed bad literally immediately. However, as a normal person and the only fair human on Earth, I was more on the side of waiting until I actually played the game. And now that time has come. Concord just had a closed beta weekend, and I spent a decent amount of time soaking up what it had to offer so that I can give you, the people, the fair Waifu Belector truth. So let's go ahead and dig into what I've taken away from Concord. But real fast before that, of course, please remember to like the video if you end up enjoying, or actually a better way to get likes, like the video if you hate Concord and think it's stupid and PlayStation is stupid for putting it out. And yeah, like the video if that. Okay, jokes aside, let's just talk about Concord, huh? So, Concord, I don't want to hold you in suspense too much here, so I'm just gonna kinda lead with the conclusion. Concord is good. And I do mean good. It's not great. I wouldn't even say really good, but it's good. But it's also a caveated good, because sure, it's good, but good for who? Allow me to explain while simultaneously giving you some general knowledge about the game. So obviously a lot of people, including me, when we saw Concord, it was very much giving off Overwatch gameplay energy. It looked to be pretty obvious that that was the spot they were gunning for. But looks can be deceiving, guys, because this is not the Overwatch clone or rip that you think it is. It doesn't even feel like Overwatch to control. In fact, the only thing it really truly has that shares fabric with Overwatch is that yes, there are heroes with unique abilities, and they are all pretty much really easy to pick up and get acclimated to. It's really easy to feel like you're really good at this game almost immediately, similarly to starting Overwatch, but that's just about the beginning and end of the similarities. And although both games are pretty beginner friendly and easy to pick up, each game arrives at that for different reasons. Like I said, in terms of feel, Concord does not feel like Overwatch. You know what it does feel like? Fucking Halo of all things. I tell you what, I just did not see that coming. But it's true, a game in 2024 has somewhat made a bid for Halo's feel, and it is a decision. I don't even dislike it, honestly, it's just fucking shocking. But yeah, to put Halo feel into more descriptive words for those who may not know, Halo's kinda slow by modern standards in terms of movement. No one really runs incredibly fast, but it's kinda offset by the fact that in Halo you have more health than you would in a lot of other shooters. Concord feels like that, and it also has Halo's floaty jumps. Now, I don't mind floaty jumps personally. I don't mind it in Halo, and I don't mind them here. But it's so interesting because a lot of modern gamers I have heard say how much they dislike the floaty jumping in Halo. So it's brave of the devs at Firewalk to apply it to their game. But yes, I'm telling you, as a basis of fundamental movement, Concord really harkens back to Halo. And it doesn't really just stop at the movement. This Concord beta has you playing variations of pretty much two fundamental modes. And the first, Brawl mode, is just a straight up fucking Halo Unreal Tournament-esque arena shooter. You are just in a decently sized arena running around willy-nilly trying to kill each other. First to 30 kills wins. The variations of this are takedown and trophy hunt, takedown being straight up kills and trophy hunt being like kill confirmed on Call of Duty, where you've got to pick up the tag after you get the kill or it doesn't count. And yeah, this mode really does feel like the arena shooters of yore, except it's hero based. So this means there is less importance on maps and knowing them in favor of putting the importance on how well you play your unique character. So this does away with things like knowing where the power weapons are and when they spawn in favor of just knowing where the health is and how to play your character. Not saying it's a particularly good or bad difference, it's just a difference. Concord also attempts to turn up the kineticism and movement a little bit, like some of the later Halos, by way of most characters being capable of a double jump and all characters having a dodge. The universal dodge isn't some amazing get out of jail free card, but it's a decent omnidirectional hop that can get you into cover quickly when you need it. Some characters also have passive abilities that affect their dodge, so all dodges are not made equal. Another base way they kind of turn up the speed and kineticism is some characters just have faster movement speed, right? So you pick a big character, he kind of lumbers around. You pick your kind of mid-tier standard character and they kind of move Halo speed. And then you pick like, smaller, less health, more nimble characters and they move like quick as shit comparatively. And to be honest though, about this arena shooter like Brawl game mode, it's pretty damn fun. In my opinion, a lot more fun than the other game mode available in this beta, which I'll get to in a bit. But in my opinion, I think the arena nature of this game should be expanded on further. Should Firewalk and Concord get the chance? I mean, they won't, but should they magically get the chance? Maybe add power weapons, a limited ammo universal gun that anybody can pick up once it spawns, and it just fucks people up. I honestly think power weapons would really lend themselves well to this game, despite it being hero-based. I know that would require like custom animations of like every character holding and using the power weapon or weapons. I'm not saying it wouldn't be a lot of work, I'm just saying it would be cool. Anyway, let's kind of talk about the heroes themselves before I talk about the other game mode, because there is a bit of an odd design choice if you ask me. So every character has 2 abilities and a passive. They do not have ultimates, which is weird for a hero-based game. It's not the complete end of the world, but it's definitely a blemish. It doesn't help the game. It only makes the unique heroes feel less unique because they have one less unique trait than we're used to, and it's the most huge show-stopping ability that they lack. It's an incredibly strange exclusion that I am just not a fan of. And I'll tell you what, had there actually been power weapons, I'd understand this choice. But neither is present, so there seems to be a rather obvious hole for something big in the gameplay. But enough about what the characters don't have. Let's talk about what they do have and how it stacks up against one another. I'm talking about roster balancing. In my time with the game, I played just about every character, maybe except 2 of them. And one thing I can say is that most of the roster feels fun to play and seems to be able to viably get things done. However, there are a few on both sides who lean slightly into the too strong or too weak territory. And I do mean a few, and I do mean slightly. And because the balancing issues don't tend to be so egregious, character fixes seem pretty obvious. For example, there is a character named Kips or Types, I don't know, some shit. Anyway, Kips has the ability to briefly go into stealth whenever she dodges. She also has a grenade that fucks up shields and disrupts character abilities, kinda like Sombra from Overwatch. Anyway, as you can imagine, the game plan is to be an annoying, sneaky shithead, and Kips is super fun to play. However, her gun is weak as fuck. Closing people out can be a task and a half. Doesn't matter how sneaky you are, but I get it. It's better than the horrible alternative where an invisible enemy kills you before you can react. Nobody wants that. I don't want that. But the damage should be ever so slightly tweaked upward, maybe even specifically just headshot damage, so that there is still some skill applied to your sneaky kills. But yeah, some characters require little shit like that. It's not astronomical. I was doing fine with Kips. On the other end, you've got Daw, this fat dude with goggles with a fucking shield dome and healing pad, and his gun's good. He's just good. And I honestly just think his deployables should have less health. His dome has too much health. His health pad should break a little faster. I honestly think that would suffice. But yeah, I'd say that of the 16 characters, 10 of them are really close in usefulness. And then maybe like the 3 who are above that are not super far above, and the 3 down below are not that far under, you know? The lack of ults as just generally huge game-changing abilities, having that missing in truth makes this game fairly easy to keep in check, honestly. There's always gonna be a character who's better than other characters, but nothing feels too outrageous here, and I'd imagine it'll stay that way. Now let's talk about the second game mode that may be the reason for the truly befuddling choice to have no ults. This mode is called Rivalry, and it works like Valorant with some slight differences. For one, it's not best of 100 rounds. No, I'm kidding. But why does Valorant have so many fucking rounds? No, but Concord's Rivalry is best of 7 rounds, so first to 4. But the most notable thing is that one team isn't like attacking or trying to plant the bomb while the other is defending. The bomb is just in the middle of the stage, and anyone from either team can pick it up and attempt to apply that pressure, which again, I don't personally feel is a good or bad change. It's just sort of a change. Now, as you may have guessed, just like Valorant, there are no respawns per round in this mode. So once you're dead, you're gone until the next round. Another change, however, that I think is kind of a cool one is the ability to change characters between rounds. And if you win the round as a specific character, you cannot choose that character anymore. So it encourages you to get good with multiple characters. Now there is a mechanic that applies to this mode especially that we don't get to dabble with too much in the beta. The mechanic is called variance. Characters, on top of their passives, also have sort of a second passive variant perk. So what we have is the first variant of every character, but we will be able to unlock multiple variants of characters that have different variant perks. And these second variants of characters count as separate characters. So you can pick variant 1 of a character, win the round, and then pick variant 2 of the same character. Now listen, in the beta, only 2 characters have a second variant, so like I said, we don't get to dabble with it too much. But in the full game, where every character has multiple variants, this will be a better mechanic and presumably game mode. Because another mechanic that's kind of useless here in the beta is you actually have to choose a loadout of like 15 characters, and those are the characters you can choose from in the match. In the beta, that doesn't matter because there's only 16 characters. But in the full game where everyone has variants, every time you want to add a variant of the same character, you'll have to remove an entirely different character from your roster. So you run the risk of other options not being available in favor of more chances with your best character. It's kind of cool. It sounds like a bit of depth that this game mode might need, and possibly the game overall, but we really don't get to see it in action. Pair this variant stuff with the fact that deployable objects persist throughout rounds, and that might be why they decided on no ults. However, it's still not a choice I agree with, but I'd love for variants to prove me wrong. Overall, the Rivalry game mode just isn't nearly as fun as the arena style deathmatches, but that could be due to the absence of variants in this beta. I guess we'll see. And I'm coming up on the end of this now, so I'll say this again. Concord is a good game. Perhaps when the full game drops, it will be more than that, but for now, it's just a decently good game to me. Based on this beta, I'd be lying if I said there weren't better multiplayer shooters to play, but it is important to remember that this is only a slice of the larger pie, so who knows? The game could be significantly better with all its content. However, for now, I'm here to say what it is and what we know. And here's what we know. Concord takes some bits and pieces from everywhere, from Overwatch to Valorant, with the most sizable influence surprisingly seemingly coming from Halo, a franchise that cannot seem to get its shit together. So maybe the people who once liked Halo will like this? Except the people who liked Halo probably don't want a fucking hero shooter, even if that hero shooter feels more like Halo than Overwatch. So yeah, I mean, Concord's a good little game, but who's it for? Which little gamer faction is it targeting? It's kinda unclear, because it doesn't seem to be targeting arena shooter fans in its presentation, but its gameplay tells an entirely different story. Doesn't matter though, because it'll take a Christmas miracle for this game to survive longer than a year and a half. Sorry Concord, the people hated you in the fucking womb. I don't see a future for this game, although I'd love to be proven wrong, because while it's far from the best shooter I've played, it honestly doesn't deserve to just flop and die. But that is, in all likelihood, what's gonna happen. Oh well, they won't be the last to try. I do hope Firewalk gets to try something else after this though. I'll be here on this channel for the full release of the game to give my thoughts on the whole game. But until then, alright, I'm done. That's what I've got to say about this game. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, please like the video and consider subscribing. On my channel, I do a lot of talking about video games and the industry, and I make videos every single week without fail. So if you're passionate about video games and you enjoy the art form, you might want to subscribe. But regardless, thanks for watching this and getting this far. Until next time, I am Waifu Belector. I'm just a normal guy. I like hentai, and I will preemptively pour one out for Concord. Goodbye.